And yes, again, we're back with part 2 of this set of videos. Hello guys, welcome, or if you've already seen my channel before, welcome back. I am the Philadelphia Whovian, and yes, when I said part 2, I meant part 2! Yes, of this videos. Now, when it comes to this part, sometimes people see the part 2 before they see part 1. Guys, I'd recommend watching part 1 of these videos. I really do. Because without part 1, you're not going to understand what's going on in part 2. But still, with part 2, here we are with the idea of anti-American sentiments or attitudes of Doctor Who in the Doctor Who fandom. And the idea of, when I say that, I mean the idea of, every now and again, I've come in contact with fandom who, the idea of America in any way, shape, or form not being a part of Doctor Who is a good thing, or the idea of America being in any way, shape, or form connected to Doctor Who is bad, and it shouldn't happen. I'm going to reiterate what I said in the first video. This is something I saw a bit maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but not recently. So this is not a popular sentiment now. It's only something I've been come in contact with twice in the last 2 months, mostly just here on YouTube, and also, this is not what I experienced from many British people who love Doctor Who. I have met more people in Britain who've loved Doctor Who and are perfectly respectful of me as an American versus those who do not like Americans ever being a part of Doctor Who and think we should have no business there at all. There are a great many more who are supportive of me than there are those who are not supportive. I'm just giving these videos to explain to those, oh, if you ever come in contact with individuals like that, here's what you can say back, and that's why I stress watch part 1 first. Now here we come with part 2. I'm going to start off where I left off. Got tongue-tied there. I'm starting where I left off. And when it comes to this set of videos, where I left off was talking about Series 8. And here's where I also came in contact with another thing of someone saying or supporting the idea of America not being a part of Doctor Who. And that became with the Peter Capaldi era, aka Series 8 of New Who. Now, with the Moffat era, 5 through 7, with those episodes, 5 through 7, we see Moffat era go from, just to, Series 5 to Series 7, where Series 6 and 7 did have stories that took place in America, and American characters were a part of the show. And then it was through Series 6 that I began to see, every now and again, a couple of people on YouTube, like YouTubers, comment on the problem with Moffat is that Moffat wanted to take over Doctor Who, and Doctor Who with, helping America, like, really appeal to Americans, and, America being prominent in the show. And I try to remind people in my first video, this is no different than the writers of the classic show including Americans. It's just not about excluding Britain or removing Britain from Doctor Who. No, Britain stayed a key factor in Doctor Who in the first 3 years of the Moffat era. It was just all about including other cultures, including Americans. And you can always have patriotic pride or national pride in a show, but still have international inclusion. So that was what Series 5 through 7 was trying to achieve. And honestly, I didn't really see how Moffat's desire for the show of Doctor Who to really take over and become explosive in America as being any different than when Terry Nation took the Daleks to America back in the 60s, hoping that the Daleks would be a hit in America. And, in the end, he was right. If you actually go and you watch the Batman Lego movie, Batman fought Daleks in the Batman Lego movie. That's how, explosive Daleks have become in pop culture. But so, yes, I just don't see how it's any different. It's more about trying to expand your product, not forgetting where you came from, just creating branches as well as still sticking to your roots. If you just stick to your roots but you never create branches, then you don't grow that much. But if you keep to your roots while also making branches and branching outwards to other places, you will become a pretty prominent tree in the forest. So, but then when it comes to Series 8, an excuse I get when we get is Series 8 is we have the Peter Capaldi's The 12th Doctor, played by a very great actor. Again, Peter Capaldi, you are a wonderful actor. And I'm going to make it very clear, whatever I say from here on out, Peter Capaldi and Stephen Moffat, nothing I'm saying will ever get in the way of my love for you. I think Stephen Moffat, even when people criticized your writing, I still saw the good. Whenever you did good, I saw it. And same with Peter Capaldi. Whatever's going on with your doctor, I saw the good actor who was behind it. And I always will. But the way it is with my life is I can love something and criticize it, just like I can not like something but still see the good that something brings about. I can still like something and see the flaws. For example, people oftentimes criticize William Shatner's behavior for obvious reasons in his past, from like things he was or behavior he was like when he was younger. I'm pretty sure he was like that, but it will not stop my love for William Shatner. Love William Shatner, I know what he is. Same thing with John Lennon. I love listening to John Lennon's music, but I am aware of what he was like in real life sometimes. I can love something but still respect what it does at the same time. And William Hartnell, the actor who played the First Doctor, he was known for being a racist. But that does not stop me from respecting his era and respecting his doctor. Does this make any sense to you guys? How I can still love in something but still see what it's like or see the flaws behind it at the same time. People oftentimes, if you love something, you must love it wholly and never ever see any problem with it. If you hate something, you must hate it completely. There's no, it's just white or black. Me, very rarely do I live in the white or the black. I live in the gray. So now that we have that established, do you understand me when I'm coming to this? So Peter Capaldi and Moffat, any of your fans, I still see the good in them. And if somehow Stephen Moffat or Peter Capaldi saw this video, I see the good in you. But here's the problem as well. With Series 8, we have the 12th Doctor at the end of Series 8. Now, the 12th Doctor was always going to be polarizing to fans. He was an older doctor who took on the role after a long time of an older actor not being in the part. And then his doctor was going to be kind of similar to the William Hartnell's doctor initially, which is quite abrasive, quite sometimes a little harsh in his demeanor, and a little, not as warm and gentle as other incarnations. He started off this way. Now, this is all well and good as long as you are like that to everybody equally. But then we got Series 8, the finale, where we have Kate's character, who's the daughter of the Lethbridge Brigadier Stewart, the Brigadier. Kate's the Brigadier's daughter, and she, they've got the Master on this ship. I want to say it's like the Valiant, whatever it is. I always forget. Sorry. And the Master's there, and she says something like, we have all the, these, nations on board, but we don't have Americans. We don't have Americans now. And the 12th Doctor says something along the lines of, I'm paraphrasing, but it's pretty much the same thing as he says, good, we don't want Americans. All they do is pray. First of all, prayer is a global thing. It's not tied down to Americans. That's a mass generalization that doesn't really make any sense at all. Like, prayer is not something isolated onto Americans. Every single culture I know has some religious sect in there of people who do pray. It's just something that goes all across the board. But even if that's the case, a mass stereotype is something the Doctor would not do because the Doctor is smarter than that. And with Peter Capaldi's Doctor, this did not do him any favors. And again, even though I love Peter Capaldi, I'm going to tell you the true reality here. And Peter Capaldi fans, this is not me attacking anybody. I'm just giving you the true fact. If you don't want me to see the reality to the situation, it's because you like him so much you don't want me to see what happened. But I'm going to just give it straight. Let's look at the Peter Capaldi era. We have a Doctor played by an actor who is naturally going to be different than what a lot of fans expected. So Peter Capaldi is now on the part. He's a great actor, he's a legendary actor, but at the same time he needs all the help he can get. So first we start off a season with a Doctor who is harsher than the previous incarnations. So that was going to take some time for people to address to that. But then at the end of Series 8, we have him literally perform an act of, or say an act of bigotry, because that's what that is. Whenever you exclude someone for being a different nationality than you for a stupid reason, that is bigotry, that is exclusion, and that is never a good idea, because now you're alienating part of the audience. And Moffat, if you made that, okay, I want to give 3 different scenarios here. Either Moffat, A, you made this under peer pressure from probably the fandom or the time, because you did listen to sometimes fandom videos and YouTube videos. I know you did. or the BBC, you were trying to cater to those people who were mad at you for including Americans. Either that happened, either that was a bad idea to listen to those people, or second reason, you thought it was a funny joke. That was a bad idea. Or you just thought it was fine. That was a bad idea. What I mean by all three of these bad ideas is, first, let's go with the joke. One, it was a poorly phrased joke. And also Peter, because of the way he was playing the doctor at the time, you can't tell if he's joking or not, so you don't know when it comes to the delivery. And also jokes like that only work if you have a situation where the character either A, after they make a joke about that person from that different nation, or you exclude the person from that nation, at the end of the day, it gets resolved. For example, The Mummy. I'm talking about the movie The Mummy with Brendan Fraser. There are jokes or people, ridiculing Americans in it. But as an American, you don't take it personally, because at the end of it all, it's Brendan Fraser is the lead guy, and all the characters interact with Brendan Fraser very well, and sometimes after a joke is made at an American's expense, the Americans do something that's helpful, and they get thanked by the British characters. But either way, at the end of the day, everyone feels equal. Jokes only work usually if you have a character present that you're joking about. Like, it only could work here is because if you're making a joke about Americans, have an American right there, and then you can bounce off each other so we see equality still happening in that situation and scenario. But that's not the case with the two-parter, the Cyberman two-parter at the end of Series 8. There is no American for the Doctor to bounce off of in that situation, and it won't be till about 2 years later that we even see the Doctor encounter, or have an adventure with American characters. At this point, the damage could have already been done. So you have the Doctor excluding a whole nation of people. That's never wise in general, especially if those people are part of your fandom. It can very easily alienate your Doctor from the fandom. And we know for a fact that after Series 8, ratings did drop. This is just a fact. This is a fact. I can't help you guys. I'm just giving you facts here. It did drop. And I even know, and here's what I'm going to explain to you what America is. America is a melting pot of many civilizations. Not only do we have the Native American or the indigenous Indians who were here in America that no British person should make fun of, because Europe and the Americans, we literally shat on these people, and they deserve our constant apologies. So you have those people who are still here, on reservations mostly, and they're still here. There's that. You have African Americans are here. You have Caucasians here. Yes, but you've also got people from other countries. Canadians, Mexicans, Haitians, Japanese, Chinese, Koreans. Again, also you have the Vietnamese. You have, also Cubans. God darn, you have everybody in this country. And I mean everybody. And then you also have British people, you have the English here, you have Welsh people here, and you have Scots here. Yes, you guys are here. And also there are Irish people who are here as well. Which means when you insult Americans, you're insulting a lot of people without knowing it. You also end up insulting yourself. Because quite often in America, when I do encounter people from other countries, especially when I encounter people who are from Britain, they have children. What are their children from? Think about it. If you are living in America and you are English or you're Scottish and you fell in love with an American, what are your children going to be? They grew up here. And and if those people watch my channel before, you know that I have a job where I can literally sometimes see 1,000 people a day, and I have to talk to them because my job is to conversate. I'm there to start conversations. I'm there to make them comfortable until the really actually talented person comes in and starts performing. But because of that, I will sometimes be talking with 50 people for a good 10 minutes, and I have to make them comfortable. And this will, once they leave, I get another 50. Once they leave, I get another 50. So I learn about people. And Peter Capaldi and Stephen Moffat, I know a woman, I met her, don't know her fully well, but I met her, and she's Scottish. She's here in America. Her kids are American. She stopped watching after Series 8. She saw that line, and she didn't want her kids to watch it anymore because she didn't want to see you, Peter Capaldi, offend her kids. At the end of the day, you got to remember who you are affecting here, and you got to think about what you are doing. But even if you are not going to think about it in this direction, think about it in this way. With Doctor Who, You are a children's program. You really are. And Moffat, I'm letting you know, Series 5 through 7, even though people act like it wasn't successful, it was. I used to walk around my TARDIS backpack, when I was giving tours, and my tours were for children. I never had a tour where children did not know what that was. They knew it was a TARDIS, and they talked to me about Doctor Who, and it was very often 5 through 7 is mostly what they were watching. Moffat, you were successful. American children did grow to love Doctor Who and were really getting into it. And then for Series 8 to happen, and to have a new doctor for these children, and this doctor says they don't want Americans, now these American children might not feel accepted. This is not what you want. And Moffat, if you were doing this for the first reason, which is you felt pressured to say a line like this because you wanted to make people happy over, like your higher-ups or people who were complaining about Americans being a part of Doctor Who, that was not fair to you. Because, and I admit that was not fair for them to put that pressure on you, because Russell T Davies' era had Americans in it, so did the classic show. It was not fair for people to treat you unequally. But for them to treat you unequally and you to turn around and take up their mantle and treat other people unequally in reaction to them, look what happened. It did you no favors. By the end of it all, you were clearly going back to your original formula by Series 10 because you realized, what did you have to lose? And those people who you were trying to make happy, they didn't love you, Moffat. They were criticizing you because they weren't treating you respectfully. And Moffat, respect yourself. You deserve better. And Peter Capaldi deserved better. Now, Peter Capaldi, I don't know if you were okay with this line. I want to believe you weren't okay with this line, and you only said it to go, to make everybody happy. But Peter Capaldi, if you were okay with this line being said, it will hurt me that you're equally as culpable, because you did not think there's something wrong with this, because again, this is a children's program. And think of that line you said, now say it to an American child. Do you really think that's a good line? And also, that's you all forgetting what made the doctor. Whether the doctor is a nice, happy-go-lucky person or is a dick, the doctor does treat everyone equally at the end of it all. With this, you're not treating everyone equally in this particular story, and inequality is something that can haunt children over time. Children can take death, destruction, even nudity sometimes. But children, what they cannot take is being treated unequally because they're different. That's bullying, and that's never fun. But also, the doctor himself would never say this line, so this is you all not caring about the doctor's character, because the doctor is not, he's against bigotry, because he knows how it feels to be treated unequally, because he is different himself, and he knows it's not a laughing matter. And I know that if any Americans are watching my channel and they think, oh, well, I'm an American, I was perfectly fine with the 12th Doctor saying this, you are fine with it, and that's good, that's fine, good for you. But that does not mean it's not going to affect other people. Because you know how, if you are a man and you're watching my channel, and you repeatedly hear about how men are suck, and how men should be played by female characters, and it gets to the point where literally men, it feels like you're being attacked, the first time you hear it, you probably feel nothing. But after the 20th time, it begins to affect you. Or, white people. If you constantly hearing about how bad white people were in the past, maybe the first time you hear it, it's fine, it's okay, whatever. But after the 15th time of being reminded that you guys were slave owners, it can affect you, and it's like you just it hurts. That's how it feels. If you are an American who is constantly hearing about how Americans should not be included over here, it hurts in that way. Does that make any sense? And also, again, this is not what the doctor's character is about. He should be above this, not below this. And also, if you don't want to think of the doctor as being not a British person, think of it this way. If you want to think of him as being British, here it still doesn't work. Peter Capaldi, Moffat, America is the place where one of the most iconic men in history of Navy, John Paul Jones, became the father of the American Navy. One of our two fathers is a Scotsman. St. Andrew's Day was founded in America. John Muir, I know there are different ways of pronouncing the last name Muir, he's a legendary Scotsman who created national parks, including here in America. At least if you're not going to respect our people, respect your own. And be better than this, because you have it in you to be better than this. So this is my video talking about how Doctor Who is not an anti-American thing. If you feel like Doctor Who should be anti-American, I think you should address what you think of the Doctor. If you have those feelings yourself, it's okay, but just realize the Doctor Who is better than that. But you guys are great. You really, really are. And please remember, I am not anti-British. I'm pro-British. I think you guys are great. You guys are phenomenal. I know a lot of you guys are not like this. I'm just talking to those very select few. And how I wish people knew the Doctor is this great thing. I love the Doctor. I think he's great. I think he deserves better than to be pushed into any of our agendas. Guys, thank you so very much. Sorry if I was unclear by the end. But thanks, guys. You were awesome. Bye, guys.